Hi, it's Chris from Crochet Recreations by Chris Loves Crochet, and today I'm going to start my tutorial on the 2020 challenge. So I hope to get it done in time. I am using ice yarn. When it first came out, that's what I found was ice yarn. So anyway, we've already gone over all the rules and everything, and all the other um, all the other videos. So what I'm using is Ancona, and there are 8 balls in here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all. I probably will. Maybe not. Maybe I will. There's only 25 meters per. This is a boucle yarn, and so what I'm doing is a very, very simple scarf with a very difficult yarn. So this is 30% wool, 20% acrylic, and 50% polyamide. And it is called Ancona. It's Ancona. And it's a boucle. So that's why it's so difficult. It has some that's decent to work with. And then as far as ease of work, then the rest of it, most of it, kind of looks like this. And this. And this. And then there's some thinner ones that are still kind of hairy. And then there's a thicker one that comes along, and then there's a thinner one, and then these come along. So it's going to be a really interesting scarf, I think, because of the yarn and how all of the changes it goes through. So I found one of the balls that pretty much started with this easier part of the ball of yarn of the skein. It had a little bit of fluff on the end, but I cut it off so that I could do my chain with this and not with all of the fluff. So what I'm going to do is, so we need the yarn, and what did I say? This was 50 meters, 25 meters. 25 meters, so it's 200 meters if I use it all. I think the challenge was to use it all, so here we go. I'm going to make the scarf to be about, you can't see that, about 12 inches long, wide, 12 inches wide, which is just wide enough to not fit onto my camera. About 12 inches wide. Here's a blue. So here's 12 inches. And just keep on making it. And if there's any room for any fringe, I'm going to put some fringe on the bottom. So I have the yarn. I have a 9mm crochet hook. I have a pair of scissors. I have a stitch marker because I need to hold things in place when I go to answer the door and such. And then I have this type of needle, embroidery needle, because I'm not sure how well this yarn is actually going to thread in a needle, in the eye of a needle. So this is a needle that has the whole thing as an eye, basically, and you just open it up and stuff it in there, and then you can use it to hide your ends and such. So that's what I'm using. I think this is a Susan Bates. She does the, wish I knew what they were called to tell you that, but I don't. If you look up embroidery needles, Susan Bates, I think you can find them. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is start with a slip knot, pull it down, leave it kind of loose. I'm using a 9, but I could use a 10 if I wanted to, but I'm just gonna try to keep it kind of loose. And what I need to do is make a chain of even numbers, and then, oh, what did I decide? And then I need, I was figuring on my fingers, and then I need 1, 2, 3, 4 more, so that's still even. But I'm going to make an even number of chains for the width that I want, and then add 4 more. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And I'm just measuring down here, and I'm going to go to 20. It's going to shorten up a little bit. I'm going to go to 28, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So without pulling it, that's about 13 inches. And now I'm going to add 3 for a double crochet, and then 1 for a chain. 2, 3, 4. So now I'm going to, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, add 5 because I'm gonna, wait. Because I'm gonna skip a stitch. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay. So, if we can see these stitches, that's the question. If we can see these chains, then what we need to do is skip to the 4th, and then 1 more to the 5th, and then 1 more to the 6th to make a double crochet with a stitch, with a skip chain on the bottom and with a chain on the top of this stitch, so to speak. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hope that's a stitch. I'm going to make a double crochet here. And so what I was saying, skipping 1 on the bottom and skipping 1 on the top. So if you go over 1 chain, and then you have the 3 for the double crochet, and then you have 1 chain between the double crochet and the double crochet that I actually stitched. Now I'm going to make 1 chain. He's flying around. Need my yarn ball for this little guy. I think I undid it and re-rolled it, so now he's going to be rolling around. Okay, so then I made a chain 1, and then I'm going to skip a stitch and go to the next chain, I hope, and do a double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, go to the next stitch, do a double crochet. Oopsie, whole thing just slid right off my hook. It happens. Double crochet, chain 1. Oh, coming up to some fluff. Chain 1, skip a stitch, go in and do a double crochet. Chain 1. Skip a stitch, go into the next chain, do a double crochet, chain 1, skip a chain, go into the next chain, do a double crochet, doing this all the way to the end. Skip a stitch, do another double crochet. Chain 1, there's the fluff. Skip a stitch, go into the next double crochet. And with all this fluff, it's very forgiving. If you make a mistake or something like that, then it's gonna get covered up. I think I did something at the beginning that I should not have done. Who knows? I should know. There's 1. I'm going to skip 1 and do a double crochet here. Chain 1. That chain 1 is going to give us a space to actually work in instead of having to work in stitches. Can you see the stitch with this double crochet? Not very well. In this white part, you can kind of see it because of the black yarn running through it. Chain 1 in there, skip that one, go to this one, chain, double crochet, chain 1, in that one, skip that one, go to this one, double crochet, chain 1, come back here. Whoa, having an earthquake. Not really, not really. Just a man-made earthquake on my table. Okay, so we went into that one. We're gonna skip that one and go into this chain. Do a double crochet. Chain 1. Skip that chain, go into this chain. Chain 1. And go into the last stitch. Looks like the knot though. I'm just going to go into the last chain available. I don't think I skipped one. But hey, like I said, it gets covered up. If I can do this, hold on. What did I do? Or through, I didn't pull it through the loop. And then double crochet. And that's our first line. So you can see down here where the step ladder kind of is. And what we're going to be doing is making our double crochets inside these holes and not have to find a stitch. And then at the end, I'm going to make 2 double crochets. I'll show you when I get there. Chain 3. Oh, at the beginning, I'm going to make 2 double crochets. That's what had me all messed up. So we're going to go into this very first, go around this very first chain 1. And double crochet and chain 1, skip this double crochet, make a double crochet into the next box, over the next chain 1. Chain 1, skip the double crochet in the next, over the next chain 1. So this is our pattern all along. So let's just do the end together. Oh, no, right into the middle of it. So you can feel the holes in the fabric made of yarn a lot easier than you would be able to feel the stitches. And so that's why I'm doing this very simplified stitch, but it's not that simple when you're working with this kind of yarn. So we need our open. So now we can see what we're doing now, since I started with this thinner part of the boucle. In to that chain 1, do a double crochet, chain 1, into that chain 1, that little box, do a double crochet, get some more yarn going, chain 1, skip this double crochet, go into the next, around the next chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, next one, chain, double crochet over the chain 1, and then chain 1, skip that double crochet, go into the chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, into the next one, chain 1, into the next one, don't chain 1, and just do a double crochet into that first chain. So we have now 2 double crochets together without a chain 1 in between, but then the boxes start right there. So we're going to chain 3 for the double crochet, chain 1 for the chain 1, and turn. Now we're going to skip, this one came right up out of that first double crochet, so we're going to skip the second double crochet that where there's no chain 1 and go to the first chain 1 that there is, because I chained up 4, and do a double crochet. Chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So at the end of each row, what you're going to do is 2 double crochets without a chain 1 in between. And that kind of evens things out, so you can always stay within the chain 1s in between instead of having to try to do a double crochet on a double crochet. So these boxes, these single crochets, oh no. Single crochets or the single chains are pretty easy to find, even if it doesn't look like it, but my fingers can find it. So always remember to chain 1 in between your double crochets. Skip the double crochet, go to the chain 1. Oh yeah, I'll be able to use all 8 of these. I won't have enough for a fringe. That's okay. I have a lot of fringe in my life. Did I do a chain 1? Yes, I did. Go into the next, around the next chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, into the next, chain 1, into the next. I just love this color, this blue and white. Was that my chain 1? I'm blabbing and I can't think of 2 things at one time. But this blue and white is so pretty. I'm really excited to get to use it. And now we're at the end where we've chained 1. We're gonna skip this double crochet. There's a chain 1 right here from our chain 4. We're gonna go into, and now we're gonna double crochet into, if you can, the chain at the end. So that gives us the 2 double crochet at the end so that we can chain up 4, 3 for the double crochet and 1 for the chain 1. That's 3, and then 1 for the chain 1, turn, skip, here's the first double crochet, skip the second double crochet and go into the chain 1. All right? So it's at the end of each row that you do a double crochet in the box over the chain, and then you don't chain 1 and you do a double crochet into the chain. And then you chain up 4 because you have a chain up for 3 for the double crochet, and then chain 1 because we're chaining 1 after every double crochet to get across this double crochet and into the chain 1. Simple, simple. You can do this simple stitch with a simple yarn as well, and it's very nice. And you can see down here, it would be a very nice airy spring scarf. These are the colors of the spring scarf, and I think I'm leaving enough holes and stuff in it that I can wear it in the spring. So I'm going to keep working on this, and I will, there's no changes. That's it. Over and over and over, back and forth, back and forth. So, I will show you when I'm done, and, for the 2020 challenge, and, I will be back. Hang in there. Keep crocheting, keep hooking. All right, so I finished my scarf, my 2020 challenge scarf. Here it is. It won't all fit. It won't even somewhat fit in the frame. But you can see where some of the boucle changed to some of that that thinner. And then here's the different thinner. Here's really thick. So I think it looks really cool. I love these colors. It's not as long as it could have been, but I will show you a picture of it up on my mannequin, my mannequin Quinn, and I'll show you that. I have 2 ends to tie in because I use the magic connection, whatever you call it. It's the fake Russian join. So now I'm just hiding my tails, my two tails, with this really cool embroidery needle. So I need it to go through in a couple of places and get hidden. That's the trick. All right, so that's 3. Let me cut that off. And then here's the end, which is not that thin part. This is a little bit thicker. It's not as thick as it does get, but it's a little bit thicker. So it just fits right in there. It's also good. These types of needles are good for when you have a really short tail you've got to deal with. Because, oh no, will it come through? Because if you're down to just a little short tail, you can push it through right there. You don't have to put it all the way to the end of the needle. So, if that makes sense. These are good for that. Can't see that going through there. And one more time in this mess. Come on. There we go. Cut that off. And I don't have any yarn left for any fringe, but I think that this yarn would just be a little too wacky to have hanging off as fringe. So let me go put her on Quinn, my mannequin, and I'll show you the pictures. I'm sorry, I'm wiggling the camera again. And thank you so much. This was the 2020 challenge, and I hope you learned something. It's a really simple stitch, and you could use all that boucle yarn that you thought was beautiful to get, and you never could find anything to make with it. So you could do something with this stitch. Or something else, but just keep if it's a complicated yarn, keep the stitch simple and open, and you'll find something that you love for it. So thank you very much. I hope you learned something. Thank you for your time, and we always have a choice, so please choose happy. Thanks. Bye.